compilation.
Wait, you can sell me for how much? 100 million?
Yes.
Because of my kidneys?
Yes. Everything.
Organs?
Yes. Fine. And your eyes also can sell it.
So basically, I am with my shipping agent. She's been my shipping agent for several years. Like, I've literally known her since 2018. This is my 14th trip to China. So every time I come here, I'm just asking all these different questions because, I mean, that's just me. And so basically they work really hard. And so the conversation we were having was about like the people here that don't work hard. We're talking about that, and then we talked about going to Thailand together, like all of us. We're in another city right now, but we talked about going to Thailand, and she was like, it's not safe right now because basically they are kidnapping people. They want people's organs and things like that. And I'm like, I heard something about that in Vietnam from my nail tech. And she was like, yeah, we can't go there, blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, so me being me is like, wait, what? I'm like, so how much you get for me? She said like 100 million. I'm like, wow, like that's insane. And I'm like, what do they want? So she said the organs, the kidneys, eyes, you know, and all of this stuff. And so I'm just like, wow, like that's crazy.
If you've been watching the news, you know the family of Henrietta Lacks reached a historic settlement, finally, with the biotech company over the use of her cells and their products. Now the estate is suing a second company for unjustly profiting off her genetics. So, this is for anyone wondering, who is Henrietta Lacks? Born on August 1st, 1920, Henrietta Lacks walked into Johns Hopkins Hospital on February 1st, 1951, and was identified as having cervical cancer after a biopsy. Now, at the time, the Johns Hopkins Hospital was one of the only few hospitals to treat poor African Americans. But something miraculous happened after Lacks passed away. Her cells never died. When doctors found out how resilient the cells were, they took cell tissue without her permission, yes, they stole her cells, and used it for medical research. I'm talking everything from developing the polio vaccine to cloning to gene mapping. Lacks cells helped to make blood pressure medication, antidepressant pills. It developed drugs for treating herpes, leukemia, influenza, even Parkinson's disease, and much, much more. But despite the HeLa cell line being the most commonly used cell in science today, the family was never compensated for the use of Henrietta's cells, which is what the lawsuits you see today is all about.
So this video is circulating social media right now of two men carrying out a social experiment where they're both walking down the street. One is white, one is black. They're both blind, and they're reaching out physically to strangers for help. As you can watch and see, every single person helps the white man, 0% help the black man. Or not only do they not help him, they are rejecting him. They're pulling away from him. They're disgusted by him. They look at their arms as if they've been contaminated because he may have touched them. As sad as it is, this video does a great job of highlighting the importance of intersectionality. They both have the same disability, they're reaching out for help in the same way, but because one is both black and disabled, he is perceived very differently than the white man. Now I want you to think about this on a larger scale, about how this disgust could manifest in healthcare settings, in education settings, in police interactions, etc. This is why it's so important to consider all aspects of who someone is. Every disabled person does not experience the same life. When you're both black and disabled, your oppression is compounded by race. This is why I hate and I never answer and don't understand the question, why does everything have to be about race? Because it literally is. Our livelihood has to do with our race, and it's not by our choice.
Oh, I just finished running my plastic to fuel reactor behind me here. Let's see some of the fuel I got out, yeah? Look at that.
Yo.
That's from plastic.
Yo.
Oil. gasoline.
Gasoline
Plastic.
from
Empty.
plastic?
Barely any fume left in there. Not enough to start it on its own, alright? So, plastoline, gasoline made from plastic. Let's go ahead, put it in.
Protect this boy. Right. Oh, look.
There we go. It's in. There we go. And I'll put this on full choke. Pull it a couple times. If it doesn't start, we'll just take it off choke, maybe half choke, run it. Let's see.
Yo.
Let's see.
He made gasoline from plastic. What?
Oh yeah, baby. Oh yeah, baby. You heard, baby.
Whoa.
You heard. Let's go.
Whoa.
Let's go. You heard that?
Gasoline from plastic? He called it plastoline. Oh my God.
Real talk.
Protect this,
Is my plastic to fuel reactor, and it creates gasoline, diesel, and jet fuel out of plastic waste using microwaves.
Whoa.
Now, I've recently gotten my unique design patent pending, and everybody's telling me, Jab, you gotta make a statement. So I say, why not?
Whoa.
TikTok, hold on. You've got to see this. Black folks do not go nowhere. Remember the ones that just effed around and found out at the marina in Alabama, the Alabama brawl? Yeah, that's the family right there. Now, you know they have a mini mart that they own. It's called Vesser's Mini Mart. So we went to Google and we saw the reviews. They just updated the pictures. These people just updated their pictures on their Google reviews because let me just show you. Y'all ready for this? Let me pick myself down to a little guy. But before I do TikTok, this is for the black community. This is for our safety. This is for our security. Do not delete this video because the public needs to know that the people at this company is involved in hate crimes and hateful activity that is against federal law. So do not delete this TikTok. Let me pitch myself down to a little guy. You see it. That is an authentic Klan's mask. And the sad part about this, now we know why they confronted the black employee like that. But the sad part is they own this mini mart and they're doing this, which means they are active members. This is not something he just had around from his grandpa. No, they are active members. This is why he did this. And again, the law need to step in because these are intimidation tactics. They fooled around and found out, and now they mad, so they want to use their racist intimidation tactics to try to pump fear into black community or black people. They're going to fool around and find out. That's why I made this shirt for people like this. And you can get this shirt in the link in my bio. And like I said, these are authentic. You see that patch on there? This ain't something, this ain't just some sheet he threw around his head, which tells us that him and his family are deeply involved in racism, deeply involved in the Klan, deeply involved in white supremacy, deeply involved in systemic hate and racism. So they fooled around and found out, and now this is what they do. This is what they do when they find out that they can't. I can't cuss, but you already know. They fooled around, they effed around and found out.
Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out.
When the Moors came into Europe, the first slavery was white slavery, traded in their own people for hundreds of years. White folks sold their people to the Moors the moment they saw Moors coming. It was of great pride to be able to have a black face on your family shield. It was an honor for you to have a name like Moore or Morrison. Yes, white slavery was it. Selling particularly their daughters. They would sell them all over the world. And you know, in many families, the wives and the children reportedly were so relieved when they were sold. They were better treated by Moors as servants than they were as wives to their European husbands. See, we don't know this because they are so focused on us in the newspaper nowadays. It seems like we are the ones that are so perverse and depraved.
The Moors were black people that dominated the European, the Iberians Iberia, Spain and Portugal, and called it Al-Andalus, or Andalusia, from 711 to 1492. And over a period of 800 years, they finally conquered the black people in Spain, enslaved them. A lot of the first slaves to come to the Western Hemisphere did not come from Africa. There were black people enslaved in Spain and brought over here. The books of the Moors were burnt. It is said the Moors had everything it took to make a civilization great. And now nobody knows anything about it. Are white people inherently evil? I do not believe people are born with a racist nature. No more than I believe black people are born crackheads, are born violent, are born criminals. That is learned behavior. Nevertheless, I would have to say that Europeans are the product of a perverse and a sick culture.
Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees.
Over the years, I've been collecting artifacts. As a matter of fact, I've been collecting little pencils like this. I've seen alligators on jars. I've seen alligator ashtrays, and I've seen them depicted with kids in it. And I was wondering why the children would be there. As a matter of fact, this particular pencil sharpener, this is a pencil sharpener or a pencil holder with a black head of a baby sitting out of its mouth. I didn't pay any attention. I have been collecting for quite a few years, and I have the posters and things like that about different things. And then one day I was down in Florida. I'd gone down with my wife, and I took a trip for myself off to the Wild Blue Yonder, going out to hunt artifacts. And in my quest to hunt artifacts, I came upon a pawn shop in Sanford, Florida. In the pawn shop was a gentleman who owned it. They went and got him and told him I was there, and I wanted to buy some of the shackles he had hanging around the walls. I asked him, could I buy them? He said no. He didn't want to sell anything. He just wanted me to see it. Then we began to talk. And I asked him, I said, look, please let me buy something. I got to take something from here. He says, no. He says, I don't want to sell anything. He said, but I'm going to the back and I'll sit down. Meanwhile, he came out and came back out and began to talk to me. He said, he said, you probably don't know this. He said, but years ago, he said, my grandfather, before he died, told me of the things they would do. He said he would go down. He said his grandfather said they would go down and they would take babies with them. I said, what do you mean babies? He says, well, let me tell you. He said the slaves who had babies, they would steal the babies during the course of the day, sometimes when the mothers weren't washing. I said, what do you mean babies? I said, you mean babies like 5 or 6 years old? He says, no. These babies, some would be infants, some would be a year old. He said some would be toddlers. He said they would grab these children and take them down to the swamp and leave them in pens like little chicken coops. They would go down there at night, take these babies and tie them up because they hunted the big bull alligators. These big bull alligators were not raised on farms. They were in the wild. These alligators would weigh 600, 700, 800 pounds. Those are the ones they wanted. They would skin them, make the wallets, get the meat, do different things with them. He said, but what they were doing was tie them up, put a rope around their neck and around their torso, around here, and tie it tight. He said, I said, well, what would the babies be doing? He said, well, my grandfather said they'd be screaming. He said, what would you do? He said, just let them scream. He said, what they would do, it would help them to chum the water. He said, when they would throw the babies in tied to this rope, he said, in a matter of minutes, he said, the alligators were on them. He said, the alligators would clamp his jaws on that child. As a matter of fact, once he clamped on him, he was really swallowed. You couldn't see anything but the rope. And we would pull the alligator in and tie his nose and hit him in the head with an axe, a pickaxe. He said we would then drag him to the shore. We'd drag him to the shore and leave him lay, and we would do it again, maybe 2 or 3 times a night. I said, so what do you mean? He said, well, yeah, they were taking these babies and killing them for alligator bait. I said, so all these things I've been collecting, are really, really something that I can really talk about and say they're of a truth by what you say. He said, I'm telling you, he said, nobody wants to talk about it. He said, I'm only telling you because you're here. I may never hear from you again. He said, but these things actually depict the acts that they did to slave babies back in the Bayou country and down the south. They did this. They hunted alligators with these babies. That's why they call alligator bait.